want you guys to actually focus your attention on Tales from the Beat. It's a podcast looking at news and public relations from both sides of the business. Ed Garsten is a Metro Detroit-based reporter who covers autos and mobility. He's covered the stand-up strikes against the Detroit 3 automakers by the UAW, urban air mobility, and the rise of autonomous trucking, by the way. He previously led auto coverage at CNN as its Detroit bureau chief from 89 to 2001 and headed Fiat Chrysler's digital communications from 2005 to 2016. Along with earning his Master's of Journalism at the University of Arizona, he is a contributor, senior contributor for Forbes.com, and he joins us this morning. Ed Garsten is now part of Nemo Nation. Welcome to the show, Ed.
Hey, good morning. It's great to be with you.
Hey, Ed, good morning. This is Dave, and it's wonderful to have you, but I'm going to repeat one line from your bio, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. Yeah.
Ed Garsten is a semi-retired, part-time senior contributor for Forbes, and so am I.
Are you?
Not for Forbes, but for the radio world. But your first news story, you wrote that up in 1969. I got my first real radio job. I was in college in 1969. So you and I have been on the same path on parallel lanes for a long, long time. Ed, good morning, and it's great to meet you.
Well, it's great to meet you too, Dave. Enjoy your show. And 1969. It's a funny thing. That was also my college station, and I was 3 years ahead of another broadcaster you may have heard of, Al Roker. I was actually the program director when he came in as a young freshman, a green freshman.
He's a great guy. He's been on the show. Yeah, we've had Al on the show.
By
the
way, Ed, I just want to let you know this is such a great connection too, because it sounds like that you rolled from college into the reality of your career. Dave, it's literally the same connective tissue. I mean, really quickly, Dave, I'm going to put Dave on the spot. Tell him about how you went from Loyola to where you went to.
Oh, well, I was, Loyola University is where WWL Radio here in New Orleans was born as a science project in 1922. And by the 30s, they got the 50,000-watt clear channel capability so they could broadcast around the nation. But instead of going in a 360-degree pattern, half the signal would have been over the Gulf of Mexico here in New Orleans. So they allowed the full pie to get shoved north. 1971 rolls around. Charlie Douglas goes to the Jesuits at Loyola and said, hey, you got all of these truck drivers out there with nothing to listen to after midnight. Do something about it. And they did, and here we are. So
you are, see?
Yeah.
Radio's the best. I miss it. It's been a long time since I worked on the radio, but I loved it. I would have done it the rest of my life if it would have worked out. Life kind of gets in the way.
Well, for sure. I want to ask you a question, though. And boy, this is probably your hang-up moment here. But the disruption has become the key word, the focus for everything that seems to be going on right now. Oh, we're disrupting this. We're disruption. It's a big disruption. When does disruption meet destruction?
Well, that's a great question because to me, and I'll be honest with you, these kind of terms, destruction and this and that, they're all euphemisms that people use because they can't explain what's happening or they're looking for an excuse. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't have any patience for people to say, oh, this is disruption. It's just like when I get pitches for stories from PR people, and I go, this is a segment buster. And it's all just a bunch of hooey to me. Every day is disruption. Every day things change. Every day you've disrupted the normal. Disruption to me is good because if you're doing the same thing all the time, that's useless. So I don't know if you think I'm dodging your question.
You're
really
not.
But I do think that disruption is part of life, and you just have to roll with it and make the best of it. And if you have the ability and the talent and the creativity to turn things in a more positive direction.
Do you think we're kind of inventing new ways to use and understand old words? Does that make any sense to you? We're kind of redefining some things.
Yeah, I mean, especially now in this age of artificial intelligence, where actual intelligence has sort of gone by the wayside. People
Mine
are
did.
using. What's that?
I said mine did.
I use little intelligence myself, but yeah, I just wrote something on LinkedIn about how people go, "I'm looking for a new role." You know, you're not looking for a new role; you're looking for a job.
Yeah, there you
job.
are. Yeah.
You know, I need a job. I need a paycheck. That's what I don't need a role, and that's what I need. So people use these euphemisms. I'm going to go stay in your swim lane, which to me is really obnoxious.
That's the first time I've ever heard that, and I already don't like it.
Oh yeah, well, when I worked at Fiat Chrysler and I was in charge of digital communications, and somebody in marketing said my blogger, who was a really talented guy, said, "No, he's outside his swim lane." I said, "No, you mean he's being more creative than you expected." That just limits a person's ability to grow.
Yeah.
But they use that a lot in the corporate world. "I'm going to stay in your swim lane." Well, you know, if somebody said that to me, I would dunk their head under the water. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many of these useless euphemisms and terms that we're using these days when we don't want to really say what we mean.
I think a lot of that, by the way, is also an attempt for, and we talked about this earlier this morning, the idea is that you reframe things that are old in a more pleasant sounding way so that you,
Yes.
I think people are avoiding giving bad news on a regular basis, and people become, despite the fact that we're always confronting each other online, in the real world, IRL, I'm doing that thing now.
Yeah.
But in real life, what we end up doing is we don't know how to confront people, because then we're confronted with humanity. And so what ends up happening is that people don't know how to negotiate anymore. They don't know how to talk to each other. They work in euphemism all the time. And that, I wanted to ask you this as a reporter, it becomes a struggle to almost go back to being almost Hemingway at the Kansas City Star and talking in plain declarative language in pieces, that it almost seems quaint when you run into a reporter who works that way. But it seems more important now than ever to tell stories clearly and cleanly without all that euphemism, correct?
No, you're exactly right, and especially in this day and age where people are consuming information in a different way, they're not just sort of happening on stuff. It's like when we write our stories for Forbes.com, we're writing to play you have to play the game of the algorithms and the AI in hoping that your stories are found. People don't just happen on stories anymore, so you have to hope that you're writing about things that people are searching for. And to make sure that your stuff is found, you've got to use simple terms that people are using when they're looking for information. It's a whole different game, and you know, for a guy that's been around for as long as I have, I've had to learn this new game where wordplay and just being cute isn't going to make it anymore. You've got to try to, it's impossible, but you've got to try to beat Google, and you've got to try to beat AI as people consume information in this way now, and it's a bit maddening. But look, that's the way it is now. You can't fight it, so you just try to do your best within those parameters.
I want to give people a sense of, I don't know who writes your headlines for you, but I'm proud of them. I'm proud of everybody involved. Suitcase-sized device to pump hydrogen into Honda fuel cells, Pikes Peak Racer. And I love that because basically it says what it is. It has that old school feel. It has that alliterative, but I love suitcase-sized device to pump. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you. I wrote that. At Forbes, we write all our own stuff. We don't have a headline writer. We write every word you see in that story is written by the author.
Oh, fantastic. That's a great headline, by the way. And just to give people a sense of it, the lead is a carry-on size device will pump hydrogen into a Honda CR-V EFCEV this weekend. Like I said, right to the point, we're off to the races and running. And it's such a, go ahead, Dave.
I just want to ask Jimmy something here, Ed. Suitcase-sized device. What's the next word?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know,
so
but it grabs your attention.
Good on you, Ed, on that one.
And to pump hydrogen. Go ahead, Ed.
What's the next word? I mean, it's funny because when I was interviewing the gentleman from the company, I didn't understand exactly what it was at first, and the way the release was written, it was written actually kind of poorly. It made it sound like the device was filled with hydrogen, which isn't the case. It's just a pass-through. It's like a mini gas pump. And I had to ask the guy the question about 5 times, and finally said, "Okay, I'm not in your business. You just have to tell me what it is. If we don't have to play a game here, just tell me what the hell this thing is." And the guy finally goes, "Oh, well, it's just a pass-through. It's like a little gas pump." I went, "Okay, well, now we're getting somewhere." I said, I can't tell the readers what this is if you can't tell me what it is. So sometimes you have to be a little bit of a detective and interrogate these people just to get the information out. But yeah, it's an amazing device. I didn't quite see how the car did in the race yesterday, but I'm going to look that up because it's quite an accomplishment to be able to. Yeah.
And I brought that story up, by the way, because, and thank you for confirming what I thought. And like I said, we're just getting to meet you. We hope you come back on a regular basis here and participate over at Nemo Nation. So this is the really cool thing. The idea as a reporter, and believe me, I know this too. There were the number of times I would sit down with people and be like, "Yeah, can you explain that again? Can you explain that again?" And then finally they'll say it in plain, simple, clear English, and you go, "That's the quote." Or you'll tell a young writer, "Stop doing that. Get right to it," right? I mean, do you feel like, and I realize that I don't think it's a lost art. I just think more people are doing it than ever, and a lot of them aren't talented. I'm going to be really blunt about that. And
and you see that journalism schools in particular are really hurting right now because people aren't they're not enrolling in journalism school because they think that, well, if I've got an internet connection, I write and throw stuff up on the web, I'm a journalist. But you're not. Journalism is a profession and it does require some skills, but I could tell you that years ago when I was still working at CNN, we had to do a story at Michigan State University on genetically altered tomatoes. And this professor...
Good name for a band.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know. I can't decipher anything you're saying, and I can't tell a story. And, especially on television, you've got to be especially concise. And the guy finally took a deep breath, "Oh, all right, you're just a dumb reporter," and said, "All right, I give." And he finally explained it, but I had to shoot the interview entirely over again because I couldn't use it. I didn't know what the hell the guy was talking about.
Well, and I'll tell you this too, as a former reporter myself, I don't call what I do right now reporting, but as a former reporter myself, the number of times I have to tell people, remember the average American, and this is not a shot at the average American, has a reading level between the 6th and the 8th grade. Mm-hmm. Few of them get past the point where they blow jazz. I need to tell them the story, and if you want people to know who you are, you've got to tell me a story in a way that they understand, right? So it isn't a matter of us being dumb reporters. It's a matter of we need to tell these stories to people who need their information and don't need to go so deep that they have to read a novel to figure out what's going on, correct?
Absolutely, and that's part of the skill, is one, as a reporter going into a story, you should do your homework, do your research before you go into it. 2, learn how to ask a question properly, because questions are like little keys to treasure chests, and the treasure is the information. And if your question is an effective key, you're going to get that information, and that's part of the skill of being a reporter, is knowing how to ask a question properly to get the information you want, and don't stop asking until you fully understand it. And if it's really complicated, a lot of times I'll repeat it, and I'll say to the person, if I explained it this way, would I be correct? And if I'm not, they'll set me straight, and that's great, and we'll make sure we get it right.
Do you think, and we just got a minute here, but do you think that some people believe that I don't need to know how the watch is made, I just need to know what time it is, and if I want to know how the watch is made, there's a million places I can Google to find that out. So they want to know what they need They want to know what they need immediately, and then they'll reserve the right to do their own research. Is that where people's heads are kind of going now, you think?
I think so. I mean, people are consuming information in small bites. It's all on the web. They don't want to linger on a story for too long. But you also have to know who your audience is. And if I was writing for a trade journal, well, then my audience would definitely want to know how that watch was made. If I'm writing for a general audience, then you're right. They just want to know the top-line information. And if they want to pursue it further to get more detail, they'll do their own search.
Ed, we have to let you go, but please promise us you'll come back. We would love to have you as a regular contributor, my friend.
I sure will. Thank you so much. I really
We are honored to have you here, man. Thank you so much.
Ed Garsten, by the way. Guys, go to Forbes.com/sites/Ed Garsten, Garsten. I would really direct you towards his orange EV startup. Optogrid brings quickie charging to EV truck fleets as a good place to start. New Harmon Tech aims to monitor reduced driver distraction. Are two great stories. Got a chance to read a lot of Ed stuff this weekend. Thrilled and proud to have him on Nemo Nation.